All right, I'm going to call the meeting to order. Sorry for the delay. This is the Fairgrounds Committee meeting. It is Thursday, April 3rd, 2025. We are in City Hall Council Chambers, and it is 6:05. First item on the agenda is consider approving the minutes from the previous which is February 13th and 20th meeting minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
I will second. I have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next, we'll move on to general agenda items for consideration. We'll hold off on the fair update and move to the rodeo update.
Okay, rodeo, as everybody knows, is June 6th, 7th, and 8th. We're getting everything put together. It's coming along fine. We'll be starting to set up the Saturday before. We'll actually be there the Friday before. Start getting some equipment in that, and then we'll start setting up on Saturday morning at 8 o'clock. The ground, I just talked to Brian Moody tonight if he's got the screener lined up, and it looks like as soon as the weather cooperates and the screener's probably going to be coming in end of April, first week in May to screen that pile of dirt that's full of rocks. And then the ground can go back in. And other than that, I think we're going to have a bigger and better rodeo than we have in the past. As there's more contestants, we raised our added money last year, and they didn't know about it. They didn't read the fine print, I guess. And so it sounds like everybody's coming, so we should have a good turnout. City should be busy.
Sounds good.
Awesome.
Any questions for Lurch about the rodeo? Permanent vendor update, Becky is absent. Calendar of events, I'm glad to see that the Expo Center is being used and the grounds are being used, so I'm very happy about that. I am in talks with Tim English for the ATV races. They plan on doing 3 shows throughout the summer, so after the sand is taken off during the fair. We're going to move on to discuss and consider the Expo Center kitchen rental fee for future events. Hallie?
So you guys asked me to meet with Mike from the health department last month. We did that. It went well. Just to clarify and bring it up, if we're serving the public, if you're serving the public, they need a transient license, which is $50 for the year prepackaged foods, $190 for the transient caterer license. That is for if they are selling food to the public. For a private event or a wedding, they don't need a license. Caterers should already have a license because they are a catering business. Nonprofits, I know Brad asked about the church. If they're serving 3 to 4 times a year, they don't need a license. He's working on a flow chart for us so we can clarify things easily for others when they come in to ask about this. Let's see, we talked about a chili cook-off too. I asked him about that. They would need a transient license and they would need to be cooking on site or have a caterer restaurant license. So it's pretty self-explanatory. I think raising the prices of the kitchen $50 for their entire rental fee isn't out of the question. I just think we need to decide if we're going to do a flat rate of $250 or a $500 deposit.
And right now, there is no fee for the kitchen, but the fee to rent the Expo is $450.
Right. Right now, there is no fee for the kitchen. Last month, we agreed to raise the prices to $500, $400, and $300 for the rental fee.
Right.
So the kitchen would be $50 on top of that for the entire weekend that they are there. What we do now for the security deposit is it's $250 to rent the building, And if you're renting the kitchen space, it's $500. And then there's no charge for the kitchen use. So we would just be charging $50 for the kitchen, and then,
The rent, yeah, in my mind, it should just stay at the 500 for the,
And I agree with that. I was looking at like the renting our park shelters and different things, and it's just a flat rate that we charge. We don't charge extra to use the kitchens or anything.
right. But I do think that the $50 charge to use the kitchen should be added, but I don't think that the, how do you say it?
Deposit?
The deposit should go up it should stay at 500, in my mind. And I'll make that as a motion. To charge $50 for the rental of the kitchen, but to keep the security deposit at 500.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Can I ask, real quick, how would that affect during the fair? If we have,
Polka dot pie. Yeah, it won't, because that would be covered under the grounds, in my mind.
yep, and they
Is
have a
that-
transient license, so everything is cleared for them.
Yeah, is that good with the committee? That way, okay. So we have a motion and a second to raise the kitchen fee, or put a $50 kitchen fee on, but keep the security deposit at 500 to rent the venue. Hearing no further discussion, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Motion carries. Brad, we'll go back to fair update if you got anything.
actually, we don't have much more than what we did last year, or last
Month,
month ago.
right.
Everything seems to be going fairly smooth. We are getting more and more people coming in for vendors, which is exciting for us.
Mhm.
So far, that's it.
Okay. And now we'll move on to discuss and consider green space at the fairgrounds during the fair.
Okay, I brought that up because of the fact that we are getting more and more people coming into the fair. We had made the suggestion that we could take the tent that's in between the JCs, that used to be the JCs, excuse me, and just turn it so that we can offer that space up for vendors, because we do have limited area for the food vendors and such. I figured that would be a great alternative instead of saying, get rid of the tent altogether. We need to bring in more vendors, plain and simple. We don't have all that much space, and that is technically still the space that we should be able to utilize at some point. We are going to modify how we are placing things, but we still need to be able to use that, and, you know, I just want to see what our limitations are on that. If that's, you know, and we are requesting that we get to use that space, but we would like to, again, modify it so that the tents can be in the back portion, on the back portion of that lot instead of right up in front.
So you're saying if the tent was moved back 25 feet, 25 feet? Or how, what are you looking for? I mean,
The tent that they're using right now is 20 by 40, and that lot is substantially bigger than that. And what they could do is just turn the tent, instead of being north and south, they could turn it east and west. So it'd be 40 feet across and 20 feet back. And at the very back of that gravelled portion, so it's not going to be on the grass per se, it's going to be on the crushed granite, because then that'll leave the front area for vendors to be utilized.
I'm sorry, could you verify where this is, so I can put this in the minutes? St. John's, St.
Yeah,
Francis.
used to be
Thank
the
you.
JC's.
Going back to when this committee was first organized and I was sitting on that side of it, there's been several attempts to take over or utilize that space by the fair board each and every time, and I don't remember what he hung his hat on, but Dave Johnson would not allow it. It's been historical, it's been ours. The two churches get a donation, they put up that tent. I don't think you can change it sideways. I don't think there's enough space. And they get the money to put up that tent. They spend a lot of money on all the extra ketchup and all the extra cleaning supplies, because we're always out there cleaning that area up and keeping it clean. It benefits the entire fair. If you're putting 2 trailers in front of there, are people gonna climb around them to go back into that green space? There's space
Okay.
all the way down that midway that's not filled in, every year.
Okay, can I ask a serious question? The VFW last year paid for their space.
Have you ever asked us to? You
We've been
always just
tempted
come
to
in.
take that space, we were always told no. We are asking again because we need the space. Now, every stand down there makes money, every one. The fair lost money last year. We need to expand a little bit more to bring in more revenue, plain and simple. You know, I understand you guys are putting out the money, so are we. What part, I mean, you're taking, there's several stands down there that donate to us. Graciously, fantastic. But we still have to generate income. If we fold, you fold. I don't understand where the concept is that we can keep taking from the fair. We're trying to make this thing better. I understand there's personality issues. If somebody else wants to talk about it, that's fine. But we need that space. We're asking nicely, we're trying to be nice, and yes, you can put a 20 by 40 sideways. We measured it out.
Are you gonna climb around the stands and to get to it?
I have no problems.
I guess, Brad, if you did that, would you allow, I mean, right now, it's wide open. Are you gonna leave, I mean, you're gonna have to leave probably 6 feet on each side to get to a walkway through there.
There's 40 feet between those 2 stands.
There's 40 feet between the 2 stands.
So I don't think, unless you're having some gargantuan stands that are gonna be, you know, sideways, we're looking at backing them in instead of doing sideways. And we're trying to be nice about it. And again, I offered a resolution to it that I thought would be a good alternative. Obviously, it's not a thing, but again, that's open green space. The VFW paid for theirs, and we're supposed to say,
Did the Eagles and the VFW split the green space between those beer
I'm
tents?
not talking about that, I'm talking when the VFW opened up their stand across from, I think it was St. John's, when they put out their.
Oh,
stand.
okay, I'm sorry. Okay.
Because, you know, here's a dangerous precedent I don't want to set up, is if we are told, no, we can't do that, then next would, you know, let's say Lions want to put up a different, you know, vendor spot, do they get it for free? Does the VFW get it for free? Does Optimus get it for free? You're telling a fair that is, you know, our budget's over $250 every year. We're the biggest event in the county, and we still can't seem to bust past this issue that we had, as all the other side with Johnson and so forth, to grow. I don't understand, you know, we're being restricted as to what we're doing. We only have a certain amount of space at this present time, and we're offering a resolution.
Are you looking to put food vendors in that space, or?
Yes, because you have to be a certain amount of distance from the animals, so we can't put any food vendors up towards the north.
Right.
I understand that, I'm just saying, we got the.
I'm just thinking of where those lines would be for people, because if you back them in, people are gonna be walking and standing in line in the aisles where everybody's walking, and that's more of a,
Well, if you're looking at some of the stands are usually about 8 feet, no more than, I wouldn't even say 10 feet wide. You still got 20 feet
okay.
open, be it X amount of feet in between, X amount of feet on the other sides.
Is that,
Some stands might be able to serve from the end too. I know those that come down to the rodeo, they can serve from the side or from the end or whatever. And I guess I agree with Brad, you know, it's something, the rodeo's growing. We've got more vendors coming in this year also. We're not doing the tractor pull, which I forgot to mention. But we've gotta find more space in that. And the city, correct me if I'm wrong, but, you know, those permanent stands paid the city so much to be there. The stand is gone, so now that's open space. So does the city control that, or do the neighboring stands control that? And if Brad rents the fair board rents the grounds, like, you know, the grounds, is that part of the ground rental that the fair is going, or if the rodeo's renting it? Or are the permanent stands paying the city for that space then to put that tent up? And I think we gotta, everybody's gotta work together here a little bit, and, you know, it's an idea. Try it one year and see if it works, or go down there ahead of time, you know, you can go down there now, the snow is gone. Here's where the tent would fit, trailers are gonna go in, be backed in, you know, north and south. We got room for the food truck palooza last year. I was impressed. You know, you had them backed and you had them pulled in sideways. People found a way in, and the lines were there. People will find a way, you know, water will find a low spot to run. Give it a shot, see if it works or not. If not, you can go back and revisit it next year.
You're talking about an area that you're in, and you're in a very specific area down there, and you need more space. I get it, because you're in a very small area. This is the entire grounds. I understand you can't get so close to the animal thing, but you proved at Food Truck Palooza, you could wrap things all the way around the red bathrooms down there. Who owns the space between the Eagles and the VFW?
The 6 feet?
No.
There's 40 feet.
Is 40 feet?
It's the same, yeah, it's the same size.
I thought there was only about 6 foot.
No, there's 50, because I'm putting a tent there for Food Truckapalooza.
Mhm.
Well, we can approach them then, because, you know, I'm looking at the fact that we're trying to utilize that green space,
It is being utilized and very well for the entire fair.
but it's not an income for us, I'm sorry. And again, you know, I'm trying to look at the income for the fair. Everybody seems to be more interested in income for their stand, which is great. You want the stands to make money, but if, let's say the Eagles falters, somebody will backfill. If the Lions falter, somebody will backfill. If the fair falters, there's no backfill. How many years are we supposed to keep taking losses?
We've never seen your books.
That's not our problem.
Well, you always, you've claimed.
Here's the problem there, Mr. Taylor, is the fact that we have been begging for help down there in a lot of cases. We have to open up for you guys for free. We are graciously given money by 2 stands, probably a 3rd one this year. We've offered stuff. Clyde Nelson has come to you guys and offered stuff. 3 stands went all in after that year. But we still have 2 stands that helped us out. We're trying to bring in more stuff into Merrill. I'm sorry. If that hurts people's feelings, I'm sorry. But we need to be able to grow. And again, you know, I guess we'll go approach VFW Eagles and say, I'm sorry, but you're going to have to rent that area then, or we'll put some stuff in there, if that's the way we want to do this. We're trying to not hurt anybody. We're trying to offer a deal by turning the tent. That's it.
But where are people supposed to sit and eat?
That's the tent. It's going to be right back there, correct?
But if you take like the one in between Eagles and
It's gonna be
VFW,
turned. It's not going to be removed. It's going to be turned. See, it's right now.
I know what you're saying.
I'll make a motion to table this. I also think we need to get legal counsel from Mr. Hayden as far as who owns what land. That's gonna be a big question.
We have a motion to table. Is there a second?
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second to table. With tabling, there is no discussion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
It is tabled. Monthly report from the Fairgrounds Coordinator, Saval.
does anybody have any questions? Everything's going good for Food Truckapalooza. I have over 25 food trucks now. We have 30-some craft and vendors ready to go and more coming in. I'm going to have Laura Bars graciously offered to pass out flyers at her craft shows this weekend, so hopefully that'll bring some more traction in to get more vendors. We have a kids carnival, bounce houses, and everything going on for May 17th at Food Truckapalooza at the fairgrounds. If anybody has any questions, feel free to email me.
Regarding the seating for the Expo Center,
Yep.
Do you actually have those many chairs?
We have 500 chairs. But for the Expo Center, I had Joe Bazzino, or Bazzini, yeah, that's the name. He went in and he readjusted every capacity for it, and he measured everything out. I was just looking if we would do live events or something else with standing inside on how many people we could accommodate.
Anything further for Hallie? Hearing nothing, I'll move on to consider placing monthly report on file.
Make a motion to place the monthly report on file.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to place the monthly report on file. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next, public comment. Any public comment? Please come up to the podium.
My name is Cindy Christensen. I'm Lincoln County Fair Administrator. I'm sorry to see that this was tabled. This is an issue been going on for years, and we are being discriminated against because of the way things are being done. This has been going on for years. We've sat quietly and tried to work out resolutions, and we are getting fought every corner. The fair is the biggest county event. We bring in a lot of people, a lot of money, and it stays in this community. And these community organizations are making money off of this, which is great. But if you want us to keep doing this so that you can make money, then you need to cooperate. Thank you.
Thank you. Public comment?
Nathan Meyer. I am the 3rd District Alderman for the City of Merrill, living at 208 East 4th Street. I am also on the Fair Board. I have the great pleasure of working with all of my Fair Board members, but more specifically, I get to work with all the transient vendors, who are absolutely great. Brad made a very well-educated talk. Him and I have had conversations about this with our vendors. We have a lot of new vendors coming in. The biggest problem that we have that the rodeo does not have to deal with is the fact that we have a carnival that comes in and takes up a lot of space. Therefore, like right now, I'm looking at potentially getting rid of some handicap parking areas in order to accommodate for some of our vendors coming in. Our food has to be 100 feet away from the barn. It cannot be any closer. And unfortunately, that's just the way it is. So at this point in time, am I disappointed that this committee tabled this discussion? Absolutely. Do I hope it comes back in the very near future in order to be resolved? And that way it can get worked out? Absolutely. I just hope that we can work this out and get it done. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further public comment? Last call for public comment. Moving on to date and time of next meeting, which is Thursday, May 1st at 6 p.m. Does that work for everyone?
Are we a week early?
No.
It's always the first Thursday.
So we'll make it for May 1st at 6 p.m. Next item on the agenda is adjournment.
So moved.
Second.
I got a motion and a second to adjourn. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Motion carried. We are adjourned. Thank you.